Okay, I'll get going because I know we have time constraints here. So I've been asked to present the newest tool on the program portal, the interactive mapper. And so as we go through here, I just have a few slides and then I'm going to skip to the website and show you. But hopefully everybody's familiar with the program website and the resources tab that then will now get you to this interactive map. So you can see in this area, there's also the documents section and the data section, which are the links to the data sets in the interactive mapper, which I will show you. There's actually multiple ways to get to access the data underlying the mapper. So before I go too far, I'll stop and thank those who are responsible for the production of the portal. So the Corps of Engineers, specifically Lynette, has really been the driver of the project. We also have the USGS team that worked on the document archive and also the mapper and hosts the production instance of the database. And then lastly, the program support team and Mickey Porter was really helpful in organizing a lot of this data and reviewing the outputs as they appear on the mapper today. Michelle and Debbie have really been thorough in really evaluating the utility of the portal and helped improve the user experience. So if you guys have any tips or questions, definitely talk to Michelle and Debbie. So again, the interactive map is really the newest feature. It enables really the visualization of information, and also provides a way for you to see what the newest information is that is available, find the latest data, and to see what has become available. And lastly, all of the information is downloadable into the spatial layers, but also there's fairly quick and easy way to also download the underlying flat files. So we're going to go through a demonstration today and view each of the main data layers, which are shown here on the right. And then I'm going to focus just briefly here on the habitat restoration layer, which I believe is relatively new. So the mapper is essentially enabling the visualization of this layer and really displaying the associated data. So you can see by the legend here that this polygon that is shown here is a vegetation management polygon, and you can see the underlying information such as the fact that it was vegetation management, the name, and also the number of acres for this. We really anticipate that practitioners of habitat restoration can go to this layer and see if there's any prior activities that happened in the area, or really look up and downstream to see if they can identify maybe partnerships for upcoming projects. So again, with all these layers, there is a data page. It shows the underlying associated metadata, so you can either download the entire zip file, you can download information about the layer. In this case, describes methods, the participating parties. There's summaries of the amount of acreage and of projects in the database. And then here in the middle, there's a description of the database design, including fields and values in the database. And then there's a quick overview at the bottom that really describes the data set in descriptive terms. So that's a quick overview of the information provided for each data layer. And now I'll show you how to navigate in the interactive mapper. So again, let me know, Debbie, if this isn't showing up, but this is essentially the home page. And as I showed, we can get to the interactive map directly from the home page. When you open up the home page, the first layer that shows is the Middle Rio Grande with the main FAWAG or the river interior. But you can also show a layer about river reaches. And so initially it's just the center line, but here I've clicked on the river reaches. So there's a lot of choices here of base maps. So I have to move my zoom away. There's several choices of base maps that you can use when you are looking at this information. Hybrid imagery puts some political layers on top of the imagery. There's street information, gray, and topo. And then general navigation here is just as you would assume. You can zoom in and out with the mouse, or you can use the up and or the plus and the minus information here. And like most map features, you can use the little hand to drag it around. Let me know if there's a lag here and if I'm going too fast. I was going to talk a little bit about the four main navigation areas here. There's layers, legends, base maps we just looked at, and then the home button takes you completely out of the mapper. So again, we have the layers, which we'll go through here in a moment. So I'll start with the Rio Grande silvery minnow layer, which is highlighted here in the mapper, and each of the colors of the dots represents the site type for the population monitoring data from the silvery minnow, so the 1993 to 2019 data set. And you can click on any one of these sites and you can see associated information for that site. And because a lot of these sites here, I picked a standard site, because they've been monitored for a lot of months and a lot of years, you can see there's a huge amount of information here. But you are also able to go in and do some filtering of these data. So you can filter on date sampling and year. And here, if I just go to 2019, sorry. Now you can see that we only have 7 records, and it's the the most recent information about this site and the monitoring at this site. So the water quality data that was also collected at the Rio Grande silvery minnow population monitoring sites is separated out, but it's very easy to get here. You can turn all the layers on and off with this toggle, and you can click on any of these buttons and see the data that was collected for water quality. Again, there's 6 records here that you can flip through, and I'll show you how you can download this information from the website also. So the button here that looks like a download to a tray will take you to the site that has all the metadata for the Rio Grande silvery minnow monitoring, population monitoring. So again, you can always just go straight to the zip file. You can download a document that has the metadata for each of the data sets. And then the 6, what I call flat files, are here in the middle for the site level, and then also the by haul information from 93 to 2019 available here. There's links to other parts of the portal, essentially the documents section of the portal with the 2019 monitoring report. And then if you scroll down, you can see the provisional monthly data here and a quick description, credits, etc. So you could also get to this information not through the mapper, but essentially here in the dataset section of the main homepage. This button here will take you straight to this page. So just quickly, I'll go through a couple of the other data sets. The river miles are shown here. There's a 2002 and 2012 version. Just have the 12 toggled on, but you can see they're all labeled here for use in project planning, or if you have historic data and wonder where it was collected. And again, those are both downloadable using these buttons. The river reach information, which I showed you a little bit earlier. Again, in the legend, you can see that the reaches are colored, and then there's also a layer that is just the main channel. There is a nice button over here if you ever get lost and wonder where of the mapper. And let's see, river eyes data is also here. So the drying data, Mickey was really helpful in putting this information together. There's dry reaches by date and dry days per year. And just as earlier, you can click on these sections of the river and see the underlying data. And just as before, you can go to the layers and download each one of these data sets. The one that I referred to earlier, the habitat model layer here, is the one that has the polygon of the river restoration, one of the newer data sets put together for this and for use. And very similar, you can click on the polygons and see the information, and you can click on them and zoom to the entire extent of the polygon and see features of that. And similar, you can download the information. And lastly, the vegetation classification layer, commonly called the Hink and Omart vegetation layer. There are several years of this information, so you can turn on or off any one of these survey efforts, and you can see the entire classification, which is consistent across the different years, and get more information when you click on them. So a very similar setup for each of the layers. We have you can control what you're looking at in the layers section. For some of these, you can filter, and then in the legend section, you can see what the colors may mean, and you can zoom in or out as needed. So that's the quick demonstration. I have not been looking at the chat, but hopefully those questions are getting answered. If you have any questions, back the program support team. There are additional features to the mapper that are in the wish list, I would say. It is a work in progress, and features that other folks have asked for have been prioritized so that USGS knows what we're going through. And especially if anybody is viewing the mapper and sees any errors, if you could let Debbie and Michelle know, that'd be really helpful, especially folks that are close to these data. If you can let us know if you see any issues, that would be very helpful. I think that's all I had, unless Catherine or Debbie would like to chime in on any features.
No, that sounds great. There was a question that came in from Grace about how to download the full data sets, but I gave her the link in the chat. On each of the data pages, there are links to each of the full data sets.
Yep.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you very much for that, Shay. And again, if you have questions, just feel free to reach out to any of us, and we'll get them to the right folks. In the interest of time, I know we've run a few minutes over our end time. I'll keep my closing remarks short. First of all, I encourage everyone to try out the mapper and share your thoughts with us. And we want to make all these tools as useful as possible, and we obviously can't do that without your help and feedback. So please try them out and over the next few weeks, and give us a call if you run into any issues. We're grateful to those who contributed talks and posters, and especially all who patiently submitted questions over chat and also participated in the breakout discussions. I encourage you to continue those discussions. We don't need to do this just once a year. We need to keep up these interdisciplinary discussions all year long, and we're hoping that we can improve science communication within the program in that way. On a personal note, I'll share with you that I'm humbled and encouraged every single day by the dedication that each of you has shown in the face of so many challenges. It's been a rough year, and seeing other people light up when they talk about their work can be really motivating because it's really easy to get derailed by negativity and uncertainty, especially this year. Also, on a lighter note, I can't resist the temptation to point out the irony in adopting an adaptive management plan during a pandemic. I think our hands were tied on that, so good for us. I'd encourage you to please take some time to celebrate the fantastic work that all of you continue to do despite these challenges. And I am personally very much looking forward to a time when I can say nice to meet you without the air quotes. So please stay safe, and thank you again for your participation. Please reach out to us if you have any more questions or comments. And that's all.